No. Okay, so hi everyone. We are Team Virgin Mobile. I am Kelsey Sullivan.
I'm Trisha Pekarzik.
Kelvin Uniman.
Sweet, and I will start sharing my screen. You guys can see that, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So our first question we are discussing is, given Virgin Mobile's target marketing, 14 to 24-year-olds, how should it structure its pricing? The case lays out 3 pricing options. Which option would you choose and why? In designing your pricing plan, be as specific as possible with respect to the various elements under considerations.
All right, do you guys want me to start with my answer first for the first question?
Yep,
Yes, go ahead.
sounds good.
All right, so I would have chosen pricing option number 3, which was a whole new plan. So because the company is entering a new market or is entering this market that's already saturated, it needs to find a way to differentiate itself. And consumers aren't going to be drawn to another new sketchy cell phone company that has contracts and hidden fees. So I would, first of all, the contracts are necessary in some ways. So they serve as a safety net for the company in terms of retention, and it would ensure that the company can have a steady stream of revenue even during slower periods. If the company eliminated the contracts, they would risk an exponentially higher churn rate, which is already high in the industry to begin with. And the second thing that my pricing plan would include is a decrease or elimination of the subsidies that are provided to consumers, and that would differentiate the company further as a value-focused brand. So this would position Virgin Mobile as a more valuable brand and would make customers think that this is a more expensive phone, so it has to be a better quality. And the company could then lower the cost of the monthly plan itself after consumers paid full price for the phone, so people would think that they're getting an even better deal. And as far as the hidden fees go, we would eliminate all the hidden fees. And then from the company's point of view, we would just have to roll that into the existing pricing structure so that the pricing still felt competitive to the target market, but the company can still make money from it. And then per minute fees would be charged at a constant rate regardless of peak hours, which would result in less confusion amongst the target market, which is a big sore spot for a lot of young people and people who purchase cell phones. And this would allow the company to make money when people went over what their pre-plans allowed without the confusion amongst the customers. And ultimately, this pricing plan would be an effective way for the company to differentiate itself within an industry that has a lot of mistrust amongst consumers. And the strategy would offer new transparency and would allow the company to build trust with people while still remaining profitable. And this would help hopefully lead to long-term brand loyalty and financial viability.
Awesome. Yeah, so I kind of looked at it like a little bit different way. I think I was looking at like 14 to 24-year-olds. They're not usually the ones searching for their cell phone plan, especially on the younger side. It's their parents. So I think them targeting this would kind of be hard because either they are loyal to one specific cell phone company already, or that they really haven't, that they don't think their child would fit in that like 100 to 300 minutes. I felt like that younger people were usually more on their phones for a long time. So I went with kind of like the first one, and saying that they should kind of just go along with other people's and kind of make them stand out.
I went from a different angle because I felt targeting 14 and 24-year-olds would be a difficult market because of the their spending power. So I, I came from a different angle, from having a very cheaper plan, and maybe having the company sell the phone outright to these kids, and then subsidize the payment plans, and make sure there's no hidden plan, and instead of billing them per minute, maybe bill them on usage, and how the plan really fit their need.
And I think you guys bring up really good points too. Like when I was thinking about this, I was thinking more in terms of like the 14 to 24-year-olds themselves. And Kelsey and Kelvin, you two both brought up a really good point of like, it's usually the parents that are paying for their cell phone plans at this point. So that was something that I definitely didn't consider.
Awesome. So anything else on that question? Nope.
No, I think we nailed it.
Okay, second question. How confident are you that the plan designed will be profitable? Provide evidence of the financial viability of your pricing strategy. So I said I'm semi-confident that this plan will be profitable because of the ability to advertise as a cheaper, plain and simple plan. We would be profitable by the large number of new customers and customers switching who utilize their phone less than average. Although each customer would not make a huge profit, we could make money by advertising to so many different customers.
And as far as my plan goes, I'm fairly confident that this plan would be profitable as well. When it comes to the contracts, even though people don't really like them, it kind of seems like a necessary evil for the cell phone industry. Majority of cell phone providers already utilize cell phone contracts, and it's generally a large source of ongoing revenue. And obviously, the longer that customers are tied to a business, the more money can be generated. And then when it comes to subsidies, there's been some research done that shows that charging the consumer a lower monthly service charge would actually yield more profit than subsidizing their phones. So that's why I suggested that we just lower the price of the contract itself, that monthly fee that they get charged, and then eliminate the subsidies to kind of balance out those costs. And then as far as hidden fees go, they wouldn't really make an impact on the profitability because they would just be rolled up into the normal costs of the business. And then obviously continuing to charge users for additional per minute fees would be a good source of ongoing revenue as well. But charging them a constant fee instead of confusing them with the on-peak and off-peak hours would be attractive to consumers and would still be profitable for our business. And so our customers would also hopefully realize that they're being charged less than their current service provider, and more of them might be willing to make the switch to Virgin Mobile.
Yeah, Trisha, with the part about that you said that less confusion with the off-peak and like regular hours, I think that's super important to think about, because when people are using their cell phones, they're not really thinking like, oh, I should wait 1 hour to call my grandma because then I could save 15 cents. So I feel like it's just an extra step that could be avoided if they just lower their regular pricing.
Yeah. So for question 2, I too had confidence in the plan, and I think it was going to be profitable, but it was going to take a little bit of time, and the company has to be patient. And because for my plan, customers are going to be paying as they go, so it's kind of not so sure of a win-win situation, but the more you can attract people to come on that plan and pay as they go, it's going to profit the company in the long run.
Awesome. Any other comments on that? Nope. Okay, so our third question. The cellular industry is notorious for high customer dissatisfaction. Despite the existence of service contracts, the big carriers churn roughly 20% 24% of their customer each year. Clearly, there is very, very little loyalty in this market. What is the source of all this dissatisfaction? How have the various pricing variables, contracts, pricing buckets, hidden fees, off-peak hours, etc., affected the customer experience? Why haven't the big carrier responded more aggressively to customer dissatisfaction?
For question three, I went with my answer was there are two leading causes of customer dissatisfaction when it comes to the telecom company. First of all, poor customer service and the hidden fees and the rate at which they bill customers. So, and then in terms of the billing, most customers are really get mad at the company when it comes to billing. So I just picked those two and talked about them.
Yeah, I agree. Like billing can get super complicated for all these people. They don't really know what they're paying for. They kind of just go with what they're told. So like I think about it, when my parents took me to get my first cell phone, they had never had someone that had a smartphone. So all the salespeople were like, do this, it's the best option for you. And they just kind of went with it just because they thought he was the expert. But really then you end up paying for all these extra things. It gets confusing like with the pricing buckets. So I just thought like the complexity of the whole situation makes it super hard. I think also what kind of like turns customers away is that they see a better offer on another one and they're like, oh, I could go do that. So then they switch. And then after a year or two, they realize, oh, now I could find this deal or this service isn't the best.
Yeah, and I would agree with you guys. Even in the article that we read, the CEO of Virgin Mobile said the industry is making money from customer confusion.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of encompasses all of our answers. You know, it's the pricing buckets, it's the fact that these peak times are shifting. Like first it was 6 p.m., then it was 7 p.m., then it was 8 p.m., and now it's 9 p.m. There's all these hidden fees, there's taxes, there's universal service charges, and no one really knows how much they're going to pay until they get their bill, right? And then there's the contracts that lock people in, they can't really get out of them, and so that just generally causes a lot of mistrust in the industry. And going back to the confusion, like we've all said, that's where the companies are making their money. And at this point, where we're at in the world, especially in the United States, people think they need their cell phones. And so a lot of people are willing to deal with the headache and knowing that they might get charged extra instead of giving up their cell phones. So by now, people kind of know that cell phone companies are sketchy and it's kind of just something that they have to deal with. So with Virgin Mobile being a new cell phone company, it's really a good opportunity for them to be transparent and kind of be different in the industry.
Yeah, and I would like to add, when it comes to advertising their plans too, they have a way of hiding figures in there, and then you hear the guy just go so fast, and then you're like, what did he say? You know,
Yeah,
definitely.
like, oh, $30 for a month, and then he just blobs so many things along the line, and then like, do I have to pay for those, or do they come with $30 per month? You know, yeah.
right. It's like they'll say they told you, but like, did they really tell you if you can't understand what they're saying? Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Awesome. Moving on. What do you think of Virgin Mobile's value proposition, the Virgin Extras, etc.? What do you think of its channel and merchandising strategy? Well, first off, I just like think they kind of pride themselves in being different. Like from the start, they are like, we're not going to be a regular cell phone company. So I think all like the deals they did with like Best Buy, MTV was them like targeting in on their target market. Like they really wanted to focus on that like 14 to 24-year-old age. So they did whatever they could to get into that market. So I think it's interesting. I don't really know how well it worked out for them, but I think it kind of helped put their like name on the board by spreading it to the young generation.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that. I think just like looking at it at surface level, it seems like it might be enticing. You know, these are things that our target market might like, you know, the MTV stuff and the movies and the texting. It's all stuff that young people like, but at the same time, it makes me wonder if these things that they're adding that they think the target market will value, is it actually something they value? So like one of the things was it'll tell you like movie times and then you can buy tickets and stuff like that, but it's like if you can already go to the website of the movie theater and check on that stuff yourself and buy the ticket yourself, do you really need your cell phone provider giving you that like as part of the plan? So I don't really know how this worked out either, but I would be curious because it kind of seems like it might work, but at the same time I don't know if what they're going for is actually going to be effective.
Yeah, I would like to talk about the loyalty plan too. Adding that because most kids between 14 and 24-year-olds don't really understand what the loyalty plan is all about. So it's, to me, I felt that was a waste of time because a 14-year-old won't be thinking about, oh, I want to be loyal to Virgin Mobile and stay here forever. You know, so I'm like, was that really what the whole proposition?
Mm-hmm. And also, I know they like wanted to target like users of 100 to 300 minutes. That was like their cheapest one. They could advertise they were the cheap and best. But then I kind of started thinking about it, and I feel like the people that would be using 100 to 300 minutes are like older generation who don't really need the cell phone. But like if you look at movies from this era, you always see the girl like in her room talking on the phone to her friends all night long. So I think that was kind of like mismatched on how many minutes versus the people that would use it.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, but when it came to, I saw there too that they had some discounts and deals from different other products and services. I think that might really be catchy to that age group, and depending on the discount too, or the store that they're offering a discount to. So if the discounts were to a store that attracted that age group, I think it was going to be a good decision for the company.
Yeah, and going off of that, that kind of goes with like its channel and merchandising strategy.
Yeah.
Like when they said they were going to put them in Targets and Best Buys where the young kids already shop, you know, and put them in packaging that they're familiar with, put them next to the electronics that they're already buying. I think that at least was a really good strategy to at least get the young people to see it,
Yeah.
and then hopefully buy it as well.
Definitely. Question 5. Do you agree with Virgin Mobile's target market selection? What are the risks associated with targeting this segment? Why have the major carriers been slow to target this segment?
I would say I agree and disagree because for this segment, credit score it's always an issue, and most companies be like, why do I want to go down there if these kids don't have the credit to sign on to the contract, and maybe have jobs to pay for the service we're offering. So I see most other telecom companies won't want to do that, so they want to channel their marketing strategy to the parents to bring those kids over. But
yeah, I kind of disagree with that. I think they were kind of like trying to attack the like young, dumb, and broke kind of vibe. They
okay,
really wanted to like go for people that they knew could scrape up the money because they wanted to have a cell phone, and they were dumb enough to join like a 3-year contract with this amount of fee, so that they kind of got like sucked into it and had to stay.
yeah.
Yeah, and I kind
Go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead, Common.
So I was going to say too. Sometimes, oh, I lost my train of thoughts. You want
Sorry.
to go ahead?
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna say, kind of piggybacking on what both of you guys were saying, I definitely think the fact that a lot of existing companies have to run your credit for you to be able to get on a plan and have a contract. You know, on the surface, it might not seem smart to target people who don't have a credit, but like Kelsey said, you know, a lot of times it's the parents purchasing the cell phone for the kids. So that's kind of like where a lot of cell phone companies who aren't targeting this young market are losing out. I also think that a lot of other major carriers were slow to target this market because it said that teens and young adults had unpredictable and infrequent cell phone use.
Mhm.
And at the time this article was written in 2007, I think that was probably true, especially considering the fact that they were considering their cell phone use as compared to business people. And as we know, business people are always on the phone. They're always on the phone at different hours of the day as well. And so this kind of confusion and like not really knowing how much of the cell phone usage they were actually going to be using, they might think that this is an unprofitable segment to target, especially considering the high cost of acquiring a customer. They really need these people to be loyal to them. And so I think because of those things, it's kind of a risky segment to target. But I think that I would probably agree with their decision to target this market because a lot of other cell phone companies aren't doing that. And I think they are losing out on the profitability amongst young people.
But
Yeah,
at the same time, younger people are less loyal when compared to older people, and one bad customer service call, like, no, I'm done. I'm going to the next company. But an older customer will be like, they've been with me all these years and they've been offering me good service, you know. So I think that would be a risk associated with this segment.
yeah, definitely. I think another like issue on why major carriers been slow to target this market is just because they couldn't target them for like having an actual use. They would say like, oh, to call your friends. But as
Yeah.
Trisha, you said, it was all for like business people talking, getting work done. So I
Mhm.
think at this time, companies were kind of like eerie. They're like, oh, do people even need cell phones? But now that we're in 2022, we realize that every person needs one or has one for the most part.
Well, at the same time too, I would tend to disagree with that because back in the day, um, my parents didn't really spend time on the phone, even from a business perspective. It was me calling my friends at night, talking about how the day went, and they were on the phone all night until our parents would be like, "Get off the phone," you know. But if if the company saw it from that angle, I think the age of the segment would have been profitable when it comes to usage. But maybe having their own money to pay for the service, that would be the downside.
Yeah, definitely. And it's super weird for me to be like reading and writing about this article because I'm only 22 now. So like when I was in 6th grade, every single person was getting a cell phone. Like, so like looking at it that like not everyone had one, need one is like so foreign to me.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how we're all kind of pointing out too that like this article was written what, like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So at this point, like a lot has changed. And I think it would be interesting to see what kind of decision the company would make now if it was, you know, a new emerging company, as opposed to in 2007 when this article was written.
Yeah, it'd be crazy to look at. So with that, any other last comments, concerns? Nope.
Nope.
Awesome. Well, that should be good. And I'm going to stop sharing now.